they are emphasizing, first of all, the part that was in the arena. The first part, they're emphasizing the emptiness of the arena by having everything so lit up and so dressed and produced and overproduced and set up and just the lighting. I mean, it's not that bright when there's people in the building, is it? Are there TV shoots lit up that brightly when there are actually fans in the seats?
I think so. It's just that you have more lights on the fans and the seats, so you don't really appreciate how bright everything else is.
I don't know. But anyway, so like I said, I understand it's trying times, but you need somebody out there. It's so sterile. And even like in the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter series, when they had the gym fights, they had the fucking other fighters as an audience, and we've talked with All Elite. They put Pineapple Pete and whoever else are the wrestling school students out there, whatever the fuck. It's some fucking atmosphere. And instead of lighting everything up, bring it fucking down and give the guys in the ring at least some attention. The one thing about this is you can hear blows better. You can hear bumps better. You can hear the air go out of guys. You hear guys breathing hard when they go that long. That's good. It sounds like there's exertion to this. So if you just had some encouragement from the outside, and I'm not talking about your main event guys or any guy, they have got 100 wrestlers under contract that nobody's ever seen on television. And they can't have, and I guarantee you, they had more than 10 or 25 or 50 or whatever the limit is supposed to be of people in that building, in both places, at the tower and in the other place. They can do something. Anyway, they couldn't do anything with the first match. However, a 4-way match sucks to begin with. There's never a good one. And it never makes any sense. And without fans, it's worse. They had a 4-way match for one of the tag team championships that they promote in this company. Am I correct?
I believe so.
Okay. So a 4-way match with, how did they talk the New Day into their fucking entrance? It looks like people vomiting after they've fucking eaten too many Skittles. And just the fucking and here comes a Lucha house party and everybody's a gimmick and everything's a gimmick. So there are no gimmicks. And here comes Morrison and his little tag-along brother and the Forgotten Sons. And already I've forgotten their names. And I zoned out automatically because in this ring, you have 7 underneath talents and John Morrison, in my estimation. What the fuck? A bunch of guys doing things to each other. And I say this when there's fans in the stands. But could we not have had a tag team match between 2 of these teams where it would have made sense and you could have at least followed it if they tried hard enough? I could have watched Miz and Morrison because I like John enough to watch Miz against any of these other 3 teams, and it probably would have been pretty good. It still wouldn't have been fucking main event level because does anybody take the Lucha house party seriously in those outfits and that you never hear them speak? We watched this show for a while. I don't know if they, I don't know what the fuck their deal is. The New Day, I don't know where. I like Consequences Creed. What's his name? Xavier Woods?
Yeah.
Worked with him in TNA. He was a good kid then. Haven't seen a lot of him lately. Don't know where he is. Thought he was in this thing. But I know Kofi Kingston is a good athlete. But putting him in this with all the hoo-ha music and the whole 9 yards, it looked like a bunch of underneath talent. And John Morrison, who at least visually still somehow looks like a star. He just has that charisma. It wasn't the talent's fault that this didn't make any sense because it wouldn't have made sense if there were people in the stands anyway because it's a 4-way and there's no way to make it make sense. But there were backslap tags everywhere. So I'm just going to stop even referring to that because at this point, it's obvious the guys in the ring don't care and nobody's going to make them care. The agents, every single one of the agents knows it's not a tag and it's just lazy and it's a shortcut to do something because you're concentrating on a fucking move. John Morrison knows it's not a fucking tag because he went to OVW. And I would give guys one chance to do a tag like that. If I told them don't ever do it again, they ever did it again, they'd never see TV again. That's why they'd never do it more than once. If they're not going to tell these guys, do it right, it's like, a basketball player and a basketball coach in the NCAA tournament. Fucking guy shoots from out of bounds and is wondering why people are saying it don't fucking count. And the coach doesn't know either, so he can't tell him. What the fuck? Anyway, backslap tags. Who gives a fuck at this point? Because nobody cares. I don't know in this match who the heels and who the baby faces were, to be quite honest with you, because they all do the same kind of shit. You can pin someone else under the rules of this match and win the championship, even if you didn't pin the champion, which is completely fucking ridiculous. And I've hated that since the start. The atmosphere was horrible. At one point, Kofi Kingston went to kick fucking Miz off. Miz had his leg and tripped him and was going to like spin into a figure four. Kofi went to fucking put the boot on Miz's ass and kick him off, and his boot went straight past his ass, missed his ass, and Miz ran and dove over the top rope. It was sloppy. I couldn't follow any of it because it didn't make sense, because they all just did a bunch of shit to each other, and they all, by the time it was over, they looked like a bunch of fucking drunks wandering around. Big E at one point did something, and maybe he was going to dive or whatever, but he just turned around and ran backwards to the ropes. And the fucking corner guy for the Forgotten Sons was going to pull the rope down, but either it was too tight because he pulled it, but it didn't go anywhere. But Big E just dove over the fucking top rope and took his own bump. And they just kept doing shit over and over. And then finally, Big E hits the least impressive big move of the match. They have hit each other with every kind of kick and strike and jump off the top and dove out. Fucking flipped around, hopped around, jumped around, picked a bale of cotton. The whole 9 yards throughout this whole match, and Big E hits a power slam of some side slam of some description from about 3 feet off the ground, and that got the win. What the fuck? And they were taking chances of getting hurt to accomplish absolutely nothing. And you can't follow the fucking who is mad at each other, but you can hardly, once they all get in doing this shit and nobody bothers to tag back and forth, you can't tell who's on whose team. Except if the brightly colored tights. If they synchronize with somebody else's brightly colored tights, I guess they're on the same team. I don't know. This was a fucking mess.
Yeah, it hit me watching this that nothing was registering with me. It's like I'm immune to this kind of match now. If you had showed me this match 25 years ago, I would have lost my mind. And now I'm just immune to it.
Yeah. And that's why they didn't have those kind of matches 25 years ago. Because if you did them more than once a fucking year, the same thing would happen. People get immune to them. They're doing a lot of fucking moves. It doesn't make sense, and it's not set up to make sense in the fucking booking. I used to love the old Four Corners tag team elimination matches that we had down south, and I stole it and used it in Smoky Mountain. There was a team in each of the four corners, and a tag could be made to any man, right? Not just your partner, but anybody else. If you're in trouble and you can get to a tag, blah, blah, blah. And you would have to accept the tag. If you didn't accept the tag, it was an automatic disqualification. You were out. And as a member of each team was pinned, he was eliminated. And finally, the last team in the match would be the winners. And you could set up some cool things with that, with people being able to tag somebody else instead of just their own partner, just that one little weird spot in the rules. You could do some fun spots with, but still you knew who everybody was. If you had the Freebirds in one corner, the Midnight Express in the other corner, the Rock and Roll Express in the other corner, and the Dirty White Boys, Lynn Denton and Tony Anthony in the other corner, which is a match that we actually had one time in Houston. Everybody knew who the teams were. They all fit each other. And there was a reason why all those teams were in conflict with each other, because it was the match was for a cash prize. right? So even the heels, the Freebirds and the Dirty White Boys, no honor among thieves. Well, and actually in the Midnight Express, because it was a 3-heel team, 4-team elimination, which was better on the Rock and Roll because it made them the only baby faces. And by the way, guess who won? The fucking Rock and Roll Express.
I saw one of those in Lenore for Smoky Mountain. It was one of the most memorable matches of that trip. I loved it. It was the Heavenly Bodies versus the Headbangers versus Al Snow and Unabomb versus the Thugs, Tracy Smothers and the Dirty White Boy.
That's right. And you do the spots. You don't just make it scrambled eggs through the whole match. You start out and you let the baby face shine with a heel. And the fucking heel gets frustrated. And then finally, the goddamn fucking heels get upset and they fucking tag out to the other baby face, right? So now you've got the fucking, I've done this backwards now. First of all, the baby faces to fuck with the heels. Let's say Riggy Morton's in there with Tom Pritchard, and Tom Pritchard's partner, Jimmy Del Rey's on the outside, Robert Gibson's on the outside, and the other two teams. Fucking Riggy Morton to goddamn fucking make the goddamn heels embarrassed or pissed off. He tags Jimmy Del Rey. So now Jimmy Del Rey and Tom Pritchard got to get in against each other. Well, they have to fucking wrestle. So they lock up and they immediately go in a crisscross. And they run to one corner finally and try to tag both of the Rock and Roll Express, but they drop off. So then they run to the other corner and try to tag another team, but they drop off. They run to the other corner, try to tag another team. They drop off. The fans are going crazy. You understand what the fuck's going on. These guys don't want to wrestle each other. And then they finally get at it, blah, blah, blah. And then you get some heat. And then you start eliminating people. And you can go 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever, because you've got 4 teams to work with. But you still, the heels get heat on the baby faces. The baby faces make comebacks. It's not just incessant one team foiling or one guy foiling another guy's shit and throwing another guy to the ring so the other guy can jump in with no tag or whatever the fuck. And sometimes they do tag and sometimes they don't. It just, nothing registers because nothing's made important, because nothing makes logical sense to your eyes. It's just action like a video game, which is where a lot of these guys probably getting their moves these days.